Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight on our news. Voter registration exceeds 2012 figures.
2 PLP cabinet ministers deny any wrongdoing with the multi-billion-dollar Bahamar project. That story straight ahead.
Just how far will supporters go to campaign for their party? The story coming up.
Our news is brought to you by Alive, the nation's newest and best LTE network.
Good to be alive.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm KRISTINA McNeil. Topping news tonight. Despite getting off to a sluggish start, voter registration for the May 10th general election has surpassed the number of people who were registered for the last election. Minister responsible for elections, Dr. Bernard Nottage, called it encouraging, even as he sought to dispel concerns about hundreds of duplicated names on the register. Fonique Toot reports.
174,070 people have registered to vote in the upcoming general election, according to the Parliamentary Registration Department, which posted a breakdown of the latest voter registration numbers on its Facebook page on Monday. That's up from the 172,128 names that appeared on the register ahead of the 2012 election. However, Minister responsible for elections, Dr. Bernard Nottage, insisted today that the number of voters registered is actually higher than that and could exceed 180,000.
We now have in excess of 176,000 on the register, as you know, and it is anticipated that there may be another 5,000 or 6,000 still to go on the register, which, if that happens, will take us over 180,000.
39 seats are up for grabs in the upcoming election. 22 existing constituencies were affected by controversial boundary cuts, while one constituency, St. Barnabas, was created. According to the department, voter registration is highest in Golden Isles, followed by Central and South Eleuthera, Killarney, Central Grand Bahama, and East Grand Bahama. Though voter registration got off to a slow start, thousands of Bahamians rushed to register in the days before the register was closed.
So all of the concerns that we had earlier about the lack of registration, Bahamians have determined that they want to do most of it at the last minute.
Nottage says the department will spend the coming days combing through the register for hundreds of voters whose names appear more than once. The register also listed some voters' dates of birth in the 1700s, 1800s, and even 2017. He says he expects that process to be completed this week.
That matter is progressing very satisfactorily, and expect that within the next day or two we'll have just about everybody on the register who's qualified to be there, and that those duplicates will be eradicated.
Voter registration ended last week. Nomination day is set for Thursday. Reporting for our news, I'm Fonique Toot.
In other news, Attorney General ALLYSON Maynard Gibson and Education Minister Jerome FITZGERALD are firing back at a report accusing the pair of cutting secret million-dollar deals with the Chinese at Bahamar. Both cabinet ministers, who played vital roles in negotiations for the revitalization of the project, denied the report that appeared in a local tabloid this morning. Our Jasmine Brown has their denials in this report.
Both FITZGERALD and Maynard Gibson insist the accusations are far from the truth. The pair responded to an article published in Tuesday's edition of The Punch.
I don't respond to The Punch on social media, and I don't respond to people who I can't sue, so that's my position on that.
Do you have any contracts involved in the
I said I do not respond to any stories in The Punch or social media.
The Punch isn't asking.
I don't have any contracts whatsoever. None. Zero.
That is an unmitigated, outrageous lie. Now, I'm not in Parliament, so I don't have to be worried about parliamentary language. It is a lie. I am not benefiting from anything at all in relation to the negotiations that we work so hard as a government for the Bahamian people in relation to the Bahamar transaction.
Last year, Maynard Gibson admitted that her daughters have business interests in Bahamar. FITZGERALD was also asked if any of his family members had similar ties to the multi-billion-dollar resort. Any family members? I know the AG has been open about her husband and their daughters. Any family members?
I said before, as far as I'm concerned, I have no interest whatsoever in no dealings with Bahama, none.
Both the AG and Education Minister say they found the timing of the story questionable, insisting it comes at a time when the political season is heating up.
And I just say, Bahamians, keep your eye on the prize. Watch Minnis, who said it would never happen. Watch Minnis, who said he's going to sell the hotel, take it back and put it in the hands of his Merlion. Keep your eye on them.
Meantime, Bahama is slated to open on Friday, but those documents relating to its sale, which were sealed by the courts, have yet to be made public. Maynard GIBSON says they are still on target to have the Bahama documents released this month. Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Well, Free National Movement Deputy Leader Peter Turnquest is expressing concern that campaigning for the upcoming general election could get violent if it continues along the current path. He tells our news that party supporters appear to be going to great lengths for their political organizations, and it doesn't bode well for a healthy democracy. Kyle Joaquin has that story.
If you were to drive along Poinciana Avenue, you'd see nothing but trees littered with political posters, a sign that a general election is near. But just how far will supporters go to campaign for their party? It's something FNM Deputy Leader Peter Turnquest says has him very concerned. Political parties have kicked their campaign machinery into overdrive, putting up posters and erecting billboards throughout the 39 constituencies. However, campaigning hasn't exactly been clean this election season, with posters being torn down, billboards defaced, and the wide circulation of defamatory memes. Free National Movement Deputy Leader Peter Turnquest says his biggest concern is that things could get violent.
And I've said to the Prime Minister from as early as 2012, 2013, that we want to be careful what we say in the House about each other, because there are our supporters who may not necessarily understand the context of the comment or the debate, and may decide that they need to help their member of parliament or to help the cabinet minister or whatever.
PLP Chairman Bradley Roberts filed a complaint with the Commissioner of Police after incumbent Golden Isles candidate Michael Elkitis and incumbent Seabreeze candidate Hope Strawn's billboards were spray painted. Over in Long Island, culprits cut PLP candidate Glendon Roll's face out of a billboard. Turnquest said it's something no political party should condone.
To our supporters, we certainly would ask them to restrain themselves from retaliating from any defacing of our posters, and to refrain from engaging in any kind of hostile or aggressive discussion with members of any of the opposition parties.
While the PLP's billboards may have gone viral, Turnquest said the FNM has endured its share of damage as well. The FNM deputy also urged online trolls to stop the personal attacks on social media.
We ought to be able to agree to disagree and to have vigorous debate over the issues in our disagreement, but not to engage in name-calling and character assassinations, trying to destroy families. That is just, there's no place for that in a mature democracy and a civilized society.
Reporting for our news, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
And a 21-year-old woman has been charged with the murder of a Fox Hill man who was shot and killed 1 week ago. According to police reports, Marcian Edgecombe was sitting in his home when a gunman walked up to a window and shot him. Lanique Brennan of Malaysia Way, Pinewood Gardens, was arraigned in the magistrate's court this afternoon. Brennan was not required to enter a plea and was denied bail. Her attorney, Mark Roll, informed the court that while Brennan was in custody, she was tormented by officers and that her face was covered with a plastic bag. The court made note of the allegations. Brennan was remanded to the Bahamas Department of Corrections until her next court appearance on May 31st. Still to come on our news, find out how soon you can benefit from Freedom of Information legislation. Stay with us.